Welcome back to the Prettiest podcast, you guys. We are on episode 2 of season 2.
Yes,
and we
y'all.
have our very first special guest with us.
Yes.
So, yes, it's very exciting. We just wanted to bring some new things for you guys and just to hear from our community, just to see what's going on out there. So, well, why don't you introduce yourself?
What's up, world? I go by Iced Mike, celebrity photographer from Shreveport, Louisiana, but I'm international. My Instagram is @official_Iced Mike, and I'm happy to be on here with these two beautiful ladies, and we're gonna have a real conversation with two real people.
Yes.
Yes.
Clock that.
Clock
Okay,
that.
so for, we know a little bit about you, but for our guests and our watchers, let them know, a little bit about you. So you did say you was a photographer.
Mhm.
So let them know, like, I guess, what inspired you to do photography and, just your journey.
Gotcha. All right, so I start off as a music artist first, and I ended up signing a bad contract. So once I signed a bad contract, it was pretty much if I continue to do music, I wasn't gonna make any money because they own my name. So I decided to get a camera. At that time, I was like, I want to do something else outside of music. So I got a camera and started shooting music videos. And the first photo shoot I did was of my sister, and everybody was like, "Oh, you got an eye." So from there, I started doing photos.
Yeah.
From there, and just kind of took off.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a real good story because a lot of people do sign bad contracts and they're not able to pivot.
Yeah.
So that's great that you were able to pivot from that. So that was definitely your inspiration. So now when you got into it, what kind of kept you motivated and do? I know you said like people said that your sister video was great, but other than that, because I know like everything you do might not be like perfect. So what keeps you motivated in your industry?
I'm an all around creative, so anything that anything that inspires me to create something, I'm always into it. Like I still dabble into music now, production, videos, photos. I might draw every once in a while. So I just like to stay creative and keep doing stuff to, pretty much inspire other people to stay motivated as well.
That's definitely understandable because I feel like
yeah.
that's what we do. Just kind of let the creative side, the passion, and the purpose of it,
Right.
Yeah, and I
lead
think
us.
when you're creative, you're usually creative in multiple different things.
Yeah.
So that's actually nice.
Yeah.
So, do you believe that success is in most careers is more about what you know or who you know?
Pretty much, I say it's both. But you have to know something in order for you to do something.
Yeah, that is
So
true.
if you don't know anything, you can know everybody in the world, but if you're just a person who's standing around, you don't have any value, then you're just another person in the room. So I feel like you need to have both. But
that is true. I just feel like, you hear that a lot. It's like, well, it's not about what you know. It's about who you know. But
definitely.
you kind of like it's a balance.
Yeah, because you can know, like I said, you could know somebody, but like, okay, what do you know? Like, what type of value can you add to my life?
Yeah,
or what type of value
like what
can
do
you
you
add
really
to my
bring
business?
into like the table? What value do you add?
Yeah.
And I feel like I hear that a lot too. Like even where like I work outside of the podcast, it's kind of like, well, what value are my coworkers bringing?
Exactly.
Like we kind of actually look at those things before we just like bring somebody on to the team. So that definitely does
I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
So I feel that because it has to be a balance. So speaking of balance, like, do you have like a work-life balance? How do you keep personal and how do you keep like your business as far as like pursuing it and making sure you're not pouring too much in your business and then you're kind of forgetting your, personal life or not pouring too much in your personal and then lacking on the business. So what's like a good median for you?
That was actually my biggest goal and the thing I was working on this year because for the last, I've been doing this for 12 years, but my work-life balance used to suck. But now I'm starting to work on it because now I actually plan out my days from the beginning of my day all the way to the end. And like anything that's not on my schedule to try to come in, I can't accept it.
Yeah.
So you have to create boundaries within your life because if you don't have any boundaries in your life, you're gonna accept any and everything.
Yeah.
Before you know it,
true.
you're gonna be looking back like I did this for everybody, but I haven't done anything for myself.
Yeah.
So you have to plan your days out.
I feel like it also makes you like burnt out and then you eventually start to be like, like resentful of like what you're doing, kind of like lose that passion because you're overly like working yourself.
And that's the hardest thing as an entrepreneur because when you start your business, you feel like you have the freedom of your time to just, I'm gonna do this. I got all this time, but it's like, nah. You got to treat it just like any other job or any other career. You have to be on it. You have to have a set schedule and you have to know what you're gonna do each and every day.
Absolutely.
And you know, I actually feel like this ties in good to what we were about to ask you next. Is like, do you think the hustle culture is empowering, or do you think it's toxic?
I feel like it's toxic because a lot of people, they tell you to hustle, but they don't tell you what hustling means. And there's different types of hustle as well. But a lot of times people will make videos and they'll say, oh, you got to work all night. You got to work all day. You got to cut everything out. It's like, if you're doing all that, then what are you doing for yourself in order for you to want to keep going and not get burnt out?
Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like the way that they teaching it is not the correct way. Well, some people do teach it right, but some people teach it on a whole different way, and it's like, it's unhealthy to me.
Yeah,
I can see it be unhealthy.
I can see like
unhealthy is a good word. I can see it being
unhealthy. Actually, unhealthy is the word.
Man, you'll get burnt out. Just imagine doing something for 12 years and all you're doing all day, every day is just that. All day, every day. And you don't have, you missing your family, you missing fun. You don't even know what type of food you like. You don't know what you like to do for fun and nothing like that. You
lost
just hustling.
Lost in the sauce.
And then after all that die down, then now you have to refine yourself.
And you know, it's crazy because what that reminded me of was the other day I was like on Instagram and it was I don't know his name, but it's another like interviewer, and he was interviewing The Rock, and he basically was like, well, what do you do for fun?
Right.
He was like, what do you do for fun? And The Rock just kind of sat there. He was like, dang, like,
what do I do?
That's real.
And he literally came back out with a video, and he was like, that was like one of the most impactful interviews of my life, because he was like, it made me sit back and be like, dang, like I just work and I work and I work. And I'm like, you know, and then he was just like, so now he was like on a hiatus.
Trying to find himself.
Yeah, you know, just kind of really coming back down and being grounded. You know, because I feel like that's the thing. I feel like when you're in that hustle culture, you're not grounded. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? You're not like 2 feet on the ground. You're literally in the wind. Everywhere. You know, everywhere.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I can see that. So that was good. So what can you say is some of your like biggest mistakes or just lessons learned through your 12-year career?
I would say my biggest mistakes has been listening to people for advice and they haven't done what I'm trying to do, or they're not in the same industry that I'm in, or they just have no experience of what I'm trying to accomplish. But you know, a lot of times people will say, well, they saying it out of a good heart, they saying it out of a kind heart. It just depends on, but like I've received so much advice that set me back instead of moving me forward. So now I trust my gut and I move off of what God tells me to move off of, and from then it's just so smooth and comfortable.
But I feel like that's like being in flow, like you know, being in flow with God and with what you're doing in a line, because it's like, you know, you can look. What did they say? Like basically, like, don't go to man for your answers. You know what I'm saying? And not that it's not someone that doesn't know that can help you. You know what I'm saying? If it makes sense, but I feel like God will put you in the rooms that you're supposed to be in to get those answers. You know, and you'll know because it'll literally flow. It'll just feel peaceful. It'll be like, oh, this is meant. Like, this is meant.
And a lot of people, they say like, don't tell your big dreams to small minds, like because they just won't be able to see what God put in your mind, your vision to see. Like they won't see it that way. They think you're crazy, or they think like whatever you do it won't work because they just don't have that vision or they have that like, you know, ambition like you have it. So I can definitely see that. And
I literally just created a T-shirt design like probably like 2 weeks ago. It said, God is my mentor. Like this, when I say this, it spoke to me in such a way because I was like, that's the only person I can go to and I can really trust what they're saying.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because like,
absolutely.
It gets really wild.
It gets really wild.
You can't tell what's real and what's fake.
Yeah, I can see that. So do you feel like you can have it all? As far as success, do you feel like you can have the perfect, you know, I guess personal life, the perfect work life, or do you feel like something will always fall short?
At the end of the day, the only thing I truly want in life is peace. I've had it all. Like success, I done had everything, but it wasn't peaceful. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm finding success in being peaceful. Like as long as I can wake up every day, my family's good, I'm good. Bills paid. Food on my table, like the simple things. That's success to me. As long as I'm able to move forward in a healthy way, that's success to me. Everything else, I mean, it comes and goes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I remember one time I heard Boosie, he said, like, you don't know what I have to go through to have to get this piece. Like, sometimes you go through so much and people don't understand, like, why you are the way you are, why stuff just kind of roll off your
separating
back now.
yourself from
Separating yourself. It's like, because, man, it's like you yearn for it now. It's just like something you gotta have.
But I feel like you have to go through the chaotic stage to really appreciate the peace in your life. Like, I feel like, you know, chaos is not where we want to be, but I feel like you have to kind of like experience that. So when you get peace, you know, like, okay, you appreciate it.
Like
you actually
you know exactly what peace is. Because like everybody say peace and you can think that you're in peace, but really be in a toxic situation until you actually feel peace. You're like, hold on, this is something new. Like I don't feel any anxiety, no pressure, no nothing. Like I'm just, like you said, flowing.
Yeah, just flowing.
That's real peace.
So I definitely, because there's some things we kind of talked about, but for like other entrepreneurs or like photographers, like salary negotiation, like with your clients, like knowing your work, like how do you, like what are your tips on that? Like for somebody who feels like, okay, I have this client, but you know, they're newer and they're like, okay, I'm scared to charge this much, or like, you know, because they're new, you know, how do you kind of feel like
one piece of advice I can give everybody who's an entrepreneur: everything is not for everybody. So if you start your career and you're trying to please everybody with your services, you're going to always have anxiety and pressure because you're trying to create a price that this person can afford, this person can afford. You get somebody to come in with this amount of money and somebody else come in with lower. You get somebody to come in higher. So now you're like, oh, it's a balance. So you just have to set your brand and your business the way that you want to, know what you want, and do not go lower than what you want.
That's a good one. Because I was
be okay with saying no.
I think that's what it is. Be okay with saying no. Knowing your worth.
No. Because I think like when you try to compete with people based off prices and not based off quality, you're already starting.
You've already.
And you're not gonna feel like if you go below what you normally charge. When you come in with their project, I can tell you right now, you're gonna feel like you just belittled yourself.
You're
not even gonna be passionate about the project.
I agree.
I can definitely.
Might well just, you know.
I can definitely see that. So has there ever been a time where you have to like basically sacrifice your vision or your passion for the money? Like, do you feel like there's some, I guess, shots that you took that didn't align with your purpose, or are you the perfect person that will choose your good or your passion over the paycheck?
Oh yeah, I did a whole lot of shoots and a whole lot of projects that was not aligned with my vision because I was just trying to figure out which direction I wanted to go. So I was experimenting with different type of photography. Let me see if I like this. How does this make me feel? Let me see if I can like this way. Let me try this lighting technique on this. So I went through that for a whole lot. I feel like when I got to like 10 years, that's when I started finding out what I was truly passionate about, what brought me happiness, what I can do with ease and then feel like work. And from there now, I know what I want to shoot, know what I want to work with.
That's good because I feel like a lot of people have to go through that. We really, especially being an entrepreneur, when you kind of set your own goals, set your own boundaries. Like I feel like you have to kind of hit some like, no, I ain't like that.
I like that. But you won't know unless you actually
you gotta go through it.
Try it. Like you have to experience it to know, like, nah, that's not for me. You know, I have a different way of doing things. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So another thing is the risk, like financially, of like. Being an entrepreneur, or you know, like what's your view on like the entrepreneur side financial risk or like corporate stability? Like, do you feel like okay, like it's worth the risk of being an entrepreneur, or do you feel like it's, you know, how do you?
Because did you have a corporate life?
How was that?
Not corporate. I worked at a pharmaceutical warehouse for 5.5 years and I got fired. That's pretty much what just really drove my, if we going all the way back, that's why I really started off. I was working. As soon as I got out of high school, I was supposed to go to college, but I didn't go to college. I started working at a pharmaceutical warehouse. I got fired right after I had my son. So I got a newborn son. I just lost my job. And now it's like music, photography. My camera got dust on it at this point. I blew it off. I'm like, man, I got to make something work. So from there, when you have no other resources, you don't have a plan B, you don't have nothing, you got to make it work. That's when you're true. That's how you know you're a real entrepreneur.
Yeah, that is true.
Like you gotta put yourself in situations. Even when I first moved out to Dallas, a lot of people don't know, I literally had $24 in my bank account.
Oh, wow.
And I gave my last 24, shout out to my brother Dav. I gave him my last $24 for him to get gas back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I moved out to Dallas with an opportunity, hoping that everything was going to go right.
That's fake.
But that's always been in me since a kid, though. Like, I always been a risk taker, and because I got true faith. Like,
I mean, so do you feel like it's for everybody?
Oh, no, it's not for everybody. It's not.
I can see that.
It's not for everybody. But I do feel like people can be trained to become an entrepreneur because it's really just all entrepreneurs is basically the same thing everything else in life. You got fear and you have faith. You have to choose one. Yeah. If your fear is taking over your faith, it's gonna be hard to be an entrepreneur. But if you can increase your faith over your fear, it'll be easy.
Yes, absolutely.
That's all it is.
And I know what I feel like it is with that. I feel like with faith, a lot of people miss the discipline part. Like you have to be
and you know what? It's crazy that you said that because that's really what it is. Yeah. Like there's the faith, but you also, like you said, you have to be disciplined.
Yeah.
You know.
And when being an entrepreneur, you definitely have to have that discipline.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I can definitely see that. Well, I mean, because I feel like I used to do photography. I'm not gonna lie, but it used to be like,
oh yes,
I had my little. But I feel like with photography, for me, I think the hardest part was like, I guess having a vision in your head, but then like when someone comes, they don't like execute it how you thought it would be executed, or maybe like sometimes even behind the scenes, like when you have to edit the photo or stuff like that, and it's like, well, this didn't come out how I imagined it. Like, so that's kind of why I feel like for photography, because I'm like, I wasn't as consistent because I feel like I would have a vision and then it'd be the lighting or it'd be like, a setup, and it'd just be like, okay, no, this is not what I thought. So I just stopped. But like, do you have any motivation for people like me who kind of have a passion with photography, but just kind of like hit those pitfalls, like as far as not getting the recipe, just they don't got the recipe.
Right. What I did personally is I put myself through Google State and YouTube University.
Okay.
And a lot of books and a lot of trial and error. Right. I remember it was nights. I used to be on there like probably like up to like 4 or 5 in the morning trying to smooth out skin and everything, and it used to be like too smooth. I'm talking about like too smooth. And I used to go around when I was in Louisiana. I used to go around to the studio and show everybody. They're like, "No, Mike, that ain't it." I go right back in, like, okay. So it's just like a whole lot of anything. It's gonna take repetition in order for you to be successful in anything. So just be willing to study, learn your craft. Whatever you don't know, put more focus towards that and put less focus on what you know, because if you keep on doing what you know, you'll never learn what you don't know, and you're not growing that way.
I can see that. So this kind of goes with like probably somebody that's in that position. So like, what if you are in that position and you see somebody that's further like ahead than you? Like, how do you manage like career envy? Like,
I don't feel like nobody can be ahead of you. Like, if y'all don't have similar goals or similar, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You don't have similar, I don't feel like nobody's ahead of you because
so it's perspective. It's really
you're supposed to wake up every day challenging yourself. Like if you have your list right here, I'm trying to do this by this amount of time. Even if somebody do have the same goal in that right here, we see it all the time in sports. Where a team might be down 20, 30 points. And everybody count them out and they come back and win. Yeah. So it's not all about who's in front of you or who's, getting to the finish line first. Just finish.
Yeah. Just finish.
I think that's really, it's like staying in your lane. Like really, because I feel like when you're focused on what is going on around you,
you don't even know.
It takes away, like you're not focused here. You're not even looking here because you're looking over there. You're looking over there. You're looking over there. And it's kind of like, no, just stay here.
And the crazy part is sometimes that person who you feel like is ahead of you is looking at you like you're ahead of them.
Yeah.
So you have to always stay focused. Tunnel vision.
Tunnel vision. That's the word I was looking for. Tunnel vision.
Yes. Tunnel vision.
Yes.
I did have one more question. So what about, how do you feel about like working with like friends? Or like working with like family, like how do you feel about that? Do you feel like that's like something that's good and it's able to be done, or do you feel like you can kind of be like taken advantage of? Like, is it good? What's your view on that?
I feel like you got to work with like-minded individuals in general, whether it's friends, family, strangers, whatever. If you can find somebody who you can vibe good with, y'all got good energy, y'all have the same goals, y'all can get on the same page. I feel like you can work with anybody.
Yeah, I can see that.
A lot of times we'll just organically, and I was guilty of this as well, just organically wake up and like, okay, I'm going to bring my friends and my family into this, and we're going to make this go.
Yeah.
They might not have the same vision, the same drive, the same goals, the same lifestyle. They might not like what you like.
Yeah.
So if you have people, I don't care if friends, family, anything that, you good with, then it'll be good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
This was great. Well, thank you so much for stopping by the Prettiest podcast. I really feel like this was motivating to somebody out there because a lot of people need to hear from someone who's made it. Not someone who's trying, not someone who's still taking them L's, but someone who like really took the L's and then overcame it.
Yeah.
So
don't get it twisted. I still take L's. My L's are just lessons now. You know what I'm saying? I still
like we all do.
Yeah, you never gonna get to the point.
I'm like, you know what? You never stop. You never.
It's what comes with it.
Yeah,
it's what comes with it.
Definitely.
But definitely, this was great.
This was actually really amazing. I feel like this was very like thought-provoking, insightful for people.
Yeah,
definitely.
Is there anything else you want to add?
Yes, I want to tell everybody, do not be afraid to fail. The more you fail is actually the more you win.
Yeah.
It sounds weird, but you have to whatever you're putting anxiety and fear within you, and you feel like if I make this phone call, what if I say the wrong thing? Call and say the wrong thing so you can know that it's the wrong thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't let it just be a thought, or don't let it be a feeling. Like, actually go through it, fail through it, get back up and try again. Every time you find out what you did wrong, make a note and go back and review it. Every time you do something right, make a note, go back and review it. That's how you create your formula to success. Basically knowing what works and what don't work, and you just keep on repeating what works, and then that's how you win.
That is beautiful. That was great.
Yeah. Well, you guys, y'all definitely tune in and make sure you tap in with Ice Up Mike at all his socials and book a shoot, y'all. Make sure y'all book shoots and tell your friends. But
all your friends.
tell your friends
and family, honey. We need
But yeah.